Hello and welcome to Engine Adventures towing review of this 2025 Nissan Armada Pro 4X. So far, loving this vehicle. So I'm up here, I've already towed a little bit of course, so up here at the top of the mountain, 6,300 feet almost, and it pulled up the hill no problem. Twin turbo V6, 415-ish horsepower, 519-ish foot-pounds of torque. I'll put the numbers up on the screen. If I'm right or wrong, they'll be there. Peak torque, 3,600 RPM. Peak horsepower is up into about 6,000 range. It doesn't feel like there's turbo lag. It just runs really good. Everyone's favorite is it's got an extra set. There they are. These are an extra set of driving lights. They're not fog lights. Anyway, this thing, air suspension all around on the Pro 4X. And let's check our tongue weight. We should be right below 500 pounds. And it's probably the way I stopped it, showing just over 500 there. The towing setup here is actually not too bad. Pulling the cover off, you have two little bolts down there. Read your owner's manual, super easy to do. The clips can get a little stuck, but it even shows you or tells you how to remove it if the clips are getting stuck. Wiring harness is right here. This is all a big beefy receiver unit. The pin depth is a little short, so we're talking like an inch to an inch and a half. You can see the marks from other vehicles here, 2 1/4, 2.5 inches. But really, Nissan, they like theirs really shallow, which does load. If you have a steel hitch, it's not as big of a deal. On these aluminum ones, it does put a little bit more loading on it, and you get a little more wear there. I don't care too much. It's a trailer hitch. It doesn't bother me if it gets marred up. And if you're using it on the same vehicle, you're just going to have one line there. You're not going to see all the others. So it doesn't matter either way. Not a big deal for me. Love the Fastway Flash ball mount, scale ball mount in this case. And, you can see the tongue weight. So if you're towing different trailers, if you're towing a cargo trailer, a dump trailer, flatbed that you're loading different things on and off of, it'll give you a good indication of your tongue weight, which is just one metric you need for safe towing. Obviously, if your tongue weight's low, you're going to have issues. So I recommend for something this big and ugly and billboard sized, like the Armada is large. It's a rather big vehicle, but the size of that trailer, the wind pushing against it, all that kind of stuff, you're going to want a weight distribution hitch with sway control. I don't do that for my testing because I want to feel how much that trailer is affecting the vehicle. In this case, it's not. Like, I haven't really noticed anything at all, even with the wind today. It's been no problem. But I do recommend the weight distribution there, and I'll talk a little bit later about that. Nissan setup, don't follow their instructions on that, but I'll talk later about it. The payload on this is good too. So even with air suspension, usually you get all these add-ons. I had a Ram 1500 that was down in the 900-pound payload range. This one is 1,444 pounds. So that is a really good payload, in my opinion, for a fully decked out vehicle. You're towing the maximum it's rated for, which it seems like it doesn't matter which one you get. Your tow rating is 8,500 pounds. So you could have a two-wheel drive. You could have, the base model two-wheel drive, 8,500 pound tow rating. The top trim Platinum, four-wheel drive, air suspension, Platinum Reserve, all that stuff. Everything in there, 8,500 pound tow rating. So across the board, 8,500 pound tow rating. And again, it's going to do that without much issue. I've hooked up the trailer, got it in reverse, and there's no button to turn this off that's easily accessible. Am I missing something here? Easy enough. Just had to flip this thing down into tow mode. So it turned back on when I turned off, and now towing assist mode activated. And it looked like it would let me turn it off right there. Parking assist, push OK to disable. So it does let me turn it off on the screen. I just didn't have that up for some reason before. Anyway, so I guess there are a few quick things, but if you're towing, just flip it into tow mode. Then you don't have to worry about it. We're in tow mode, ready to go. We're just going to hit drive there. And, bad timing. We'll wait for the semi to get out of the way, and then there's a line of cars behind us. But getting to this point, it really wasn't too bad. Actually, let's pull up our elevation at the bottom here, which is kind of cool. We're almost 5,000, so 4981 on elevation right now. And 70 degrees is, well, about 70 degrees outside. So 3,500 RPM. I'm not trying, like, this isn't forcing this thing to go. I'm just kind of gently cruising. And this twin turbo V6 peak torques are like 3,600 RPM, I want to say. I believe it's 519 foot-pounds of torque. So you get a lot of torque down low, 415 horsepower, and that's up higher, you know, 6,000 RPM or whatever it is, up high in the rev range. But you really do get a lot of torque down low. And I do have a new camera, new audio system, so I'm still learning this. But like, really overall, I don't use cruise control when towing, and so we won't be doing any of that. But overall, this thing's been driving really well. Just picked up the trailer and brought it to this point. And a few things to note. One, the Armada, I don't know if you just saw the pothole on camera at all. It was probably 6 inches deep, but it was kind of a bigger swooping one. Overall, this thing just eats potholes. It doesn't care. Like, every pothole I've hit does not upset the vehicle. Fully independent suspension, yes, but there's more to it than that. It just has the softest, supple ride, more indicative of like a 2000s Cadillac or a 90s Cadillac or something. You know, it kind of floats around a little bit, but man, is it nice to just not feel a bone jar hit when you go over a pothole. It just kind of just cruises over it. I'm still accelerating on accident going up this hill, so we're not even at 3,000 RPM, and it's about a 6% grade. You can see we've already climbed 400 feet from where we were. Yeah, so it's probably actually we're in the 7-8% grade range right now. Anyway, this thing has no issues. It just goes. Those twin turbos is relaxing. This is effortless driving. It does have a brake controller here, and I read the owner's manual a little bit, and this built-in brake controller is a Prodigy P2, which I'm hoping, and it feels that way at least so far, has been modified for actual like use from the manufacturer. And the reason I say that is the Prodigy, I have a Prodigy P3 in my truck. I do like the brake controller quite a bit. I've used a Prodigy P2, probably towed, I don't know, 10,000 miles on one of those at my previous work, and I'm familiar with it. I do like it, but the factory systems always perform better than aftermarket, in my opinion. I haven't used, what's it called, a red something, I can't remember the name of it, my apologies. It's one that the overlanders like, but anyway, most other brake controllers I've used, they've got the ones with the timer. Those ones are pretty awful. These ones, like the Prodigy, has accelerometers in it, or pendulum. I can't remember on the P2. The P3 uses accelerometers, and I believe the PT uses a pendulum system. Anyway, the integrated factory ones just tie into your brake, so how much brake pressure you put on, it applies that much brake pressure to the trailer. The nice thing about the Prodigy ones is it has a boost setting, so this middle button you can set. I'm not going to do it now because I want to keep my hand on the wheel, but you can set it to boost 1, 2, 3, or off. I actually have it set it to off right now, and what that does is you set your gain on here. I think I'm at 6. I could actually probably go a little bit lower on this one, and then the boost setting is a percentage of that gain, and so it immediately, so as soon as you touch the brakes, it immediately will go up to that certain percentage, even if you're just barely tapping the brakes. I kind of went through them all. I started on boost 2. This trailer's 5,000 pounds. Per the owner's manual, it recommends once you're over about half the weight of the tow vehicle to go to boost 2. So I was there, but it was too much, so I went down to boost 1, and it was still a little too much. So I just turned it off, and it's been driving fine. Stopping just fine without the boost assist there. Again, I mean, that was probably a steeper part, maybe a 7%, not the steepest part, but steeper, and 2,500 RPM. It just doesn't care about this 5,000 pound trailer, which is also a billboard. This is the camera mirror setup, and all you see is the trailer because it's just a big flat front face on it. Anyway, overall, this thing again just is towing so nicely. Fuel mileage, I did notice around town, it was pretty low right off the bat. So I'm just going off the trip computer stuff in the vehicle, but really it was like 8 miles per gallon before I even got to these hills. We'll take a look at it here when we get to the top. There we are. at 6,000 feet. So this just goes up a little bit more, but we're pretty much at the top now, and no drama. Like, that was such an easy drive in this thing, and it's very impressive. I love Nissan. They take motorsport engines, their old V8 in the Armada. I am in the wrong lane. Anyway, they take the old V8 from the Armada, and that one was one of their V8 race engines. Then they take the GTR engine, put that one in the Armada, and they're just super well tuned, super smooth. In this case, the 9-speed auto, the tuning between the auto and the engine has been excellent. I haven't had any really hard shifts or anything. It's got 1,200 miles on it, so it probably is still learning the transmission a little bit, but even then I really haven't had any issues. The regular programming's been great. This one is full-time 4-wheel drive, and I can get to a screen here that shows you where the power is going. And I don't know if it would really help. Obviously, I don't know how obvious it is, but this is a clutch-based system. I don't know if it would help having a regular 2-wheel drive option as well. Longtime viewers of the channel know my favorite differential is what was offered in like the first gen Sequoia. You have 2-wheel drive. If you put it in 4 high, it has a Torsen style center differential, and so you can drive in 4 high on pavement just fine. And then you have a center diff lock, like an e-locker, and then 4 low, obviously. So you can be in 4 low and have the center diff unlocked, which allows you to turn really sharp on pavement if you're climbing a steep hill back in a trailer up a steep campsite or something like that. It's really nice to have the 4 low. It gives you a lot better control. So that's my favorite type of diff. These clutch ones are really good for people who just don't want to worry about it. So the clutches will engage as needed, giving you 4-wheel drive. You know, if any slips detected, it's just going to go straight to 4-wheel drive. I don't know how much loss there is in having that constantly engaged as far as efficiency, but it's my challenge with it is I have overheated two or three clutch-based center differentials or transfer cases. Those clutches, especially when you're in 4 low and you're doing some hard climbs, they might spend a lot of time slipping, and then it will cause the system to overheat. I haven't had that issue with Nissan in the past. We'll give it a shot here in a couple days maybe. I don't think we'll be able to push this thing to the limits because, yeah, anyway, it's pretty capable with the rear locker and all that, but we'll see if it slips at all in 4 low. The ZR2 actually was one that I didn't have the issue with. Other people did, the full-size Silverado ZR2. But the other ones I've had issues are, I think I had a Ford Expedition that did that. I had a Ram that did that. So it's not just one manufacturer. So that's why I like the Torsen style center diff. I don't know why I just ranted about that, because we're doing a towing video and that's not as applicable here. I guess you could have some slippage and stuff while towing, but anyway, this thing has just been great. I love the way this thing tows. All right, let's talk a little bit about gauging. So I cannot find any more gauges in here. There's got to be somewhere else. So when I do find that, I'll try and grab another clip and put it on here. As far as oil temperature, oil pressure, transmission fluid temperature, battery voltage, all that information, I love having that up when I'm towing. I can't find a gauge setup that has that in here. So it's probably there again. There's probably some of that at least, but I just haven't been able to find it. So I'll look around, see what I can find. I already spent some time looking for it and wasn't able to, but yeah, anyway, we'll see what we can do there. All right, when towing, just go ahead and flip this into tow mode, and then you don't have to worry about your backup sensors and all that kind of stuff. So I don't have anybody in the rear seats. I'm in tow mode, driving aids limited, towing assist activated. So I've been like to the towing pages everywhere in here. Here's all the different vehicle pages, height control, There's a fuel economy. We're currently sitting at 8.8. That's after going all the way up the hill. Anyway, in all the different settings, there is no real information page about trans temp and all that kind of stuff. I'll talk about that later, but I haven't been able to find it yet. Anyway, you want to go straight to tow mode. Push button here, I'm still getting used to it. Not my favorite thing. Parking brake is here, and it's a electronic parking brake, so it's just some stuff that I still have to get used to with it. The Armada itself, even while towing, is just a quiet vehicle, smooth. It's really quite nice. Having the trailer on there, you do feel a little bit over the bumps, but not too much. This particular hitch, if you hit big bumps, you can kind of hear the hitch a little bit more. There was a tiny bit there. I don't know if you could hear that at all, but overall it really doesn't, the Armada just doesn't care. It's very isolated, and that's great overall. We'll go downhill. What I noticed, and I don't know if it's always with these little smaller engines, they just don't have enough back pressure or something, but the engine braking of these little twin turbo V6s, whether it's the Ford F-150, even the hybrid version, the Sequoia, which I love that, so much torque down low, just a great engine with the hybrid system tied to it. Again, it doesn't tend to do a lot of engine braking for you. I don't know why that is. So we'll test this one. I can't tell you yet how it is, but we're heading down the hill right now to be able to test that. It does sound good when you're in tow mode. So even watch when I go slow here, it would already be in second gear in most cases. It holds onto that gear all the way up almost to 3,000 RPM. It doesn't need to, or on flat ground or slightly downhill, but it does tend to hold those gears a lot longer in tow mode, which is a good thing. Keeps your transmission cooler. It keeps the torque converter locked up longer, and which is where your transmission gets hot, right? If your torque converter is unlocked. So really performing quite nicely here. I'm enjoying this vehicle so much in every way. Few things I don't like, but overall it's really quite nice. And I like the old Armada. This is improvement in almost every way. They've added a ton of stiffness to it. I don't know if the Nissan Patrol in the past had a different frame than the Armada for the Y62 version, but it did have different differentials, which this is now the same as the Nissan Patrol worldwide, and it does have beefier differentials. I've emailed Nissan, reached out to see if they can confirm that, so I'll put up some information there. I believe this one's like a 248 millimeter. The old one was a 230 millimeter, so it's an extra half inch on your ring gear, which is pretty good, right? So you're up to 9.8 or so inches with this versus the old one, which is closer to 9 inches. So definitely an improvement there. All right, this isn't the steepest part. We're getting there. I'm just letting it roll down the hill. The problem with this trailer is it's so big and bulky that you get a lot of wind resistance. But we'll see right here. We'll see what we can do. And I'll manually downshift. Fourth gear, it's just holding 45. Let's see if we can slow it down for this turn. And it's still holding. So it's kind of holding the same speed. We're not losing speed. And we'll even go up another gear. I felt it start to slow down a little bit, but we're up around 5,500 RPM for that. So again, the engine braking, for whatever reason, isn't strong in these twin turbo V6s, but it's not an issue. They have really good vehicle brakes, really good trailer brakes, trailer brake systems. I haven't found a factory system that I hate. All these factory systems seem to be really good. The Overlanders, like I said earlier, they like to do things with the, I can't remember the name of it, Red something, but anyway, with that brake controller, they can just turn it off really quick. This one, it takes a minute to, turn it all the way down. So there are times when you're off-road when you want to turn it off quick, and that's the only downside that a factory system would have over an aftermarket one, but not many of them are that way anyway, and you can just turn it down by turning your gain all the way down. So not something that I have to worry about, but some people do care. Here's kind of the steepest part with the long steep part up there, and it was a short section that was probably closer to a 10% grade. This is a long 8% grade. We'll manually downshift. It's got paddle shifters here, and we're still gaining. I don't think I can hit second gear right now. Oh, sure can. So hit second gear. Man, the exhaust on this sounds really good when you're up in that range. But yeah, second gear is slowing it down, but that's really revving it higher than I would normally like to. We're coasting down. Not bad, but again, way up in the rev range, and now we're kind of holding. It's not quite as steep here even, and we're holding at 4,500 RPM. So overall, your compression braking from the engine isn't amazing right now. So if I start hitting the brakes, I believe it will downshift. We're in fourth gear. It was doing it earlier. It doesn't want to do it now. I think it just did that because we were getting slow enough, but it'll grade shift for you. It'll downshift a bit, and I bet if you use cruise control, it does a little bit more of that. It's still actually holding that gear when I put the brakes on, so it does do some grade downshifting for you to help hold your speed, which I like to see. But the paddle shifters make it really easy also to downshift as needed. Again, Nissan does a lot of things I really like, so I wish I had more gauge information. That's one of the things that's been a challenge for me. And the other one is it's a little bit floaty, which is amazing over potholes, but it's like rear seat passengers without a lot of view out. I mean, even the size of this thing, big windows, and we can open up this huge sunroof. But I imagine it would make people car sick pretty easily. Thank you for watching Engine Adventures towing review of this 2025 Nissan Armada. As I mentioned many times throughout the video, it tows amazing. It did really, really well. Overall, it drives great. Fuel mileage is 11 miles per gallon while towing, and that's not bad, honestly, for doing that test. Mid-sized trucks, I've had 11.2, 11.5 in that range with the Frontier and the Chevy Colorado. I don't actually have a good fuel mileage for the Sequoia, so I have the overall mileage I got, and it was like 12.8 over 200 miles. About 30 of that was towing. 40 of that was towing, and then the other 180 miles was street driving. So I'm kind of surprised at how low that was, because I'm guessing it was worse than this essentially. But anyway, the rest of it did really well. I wish there were more towing gauges. That's kind of the only area where it lacked. The suspension was actually pretty good. So these, I don't know how well it's going to show up. Yeah, you can see the airbag there, and then the shocks are electronically controlled. It might be easier to see on the front. I don't know. Anyway, you can see all the wires there. The shocks are electronically controlled, so they do adjust, and it did really pretty well. It was very stable while towing and all that stuff. I had no issues there. Overall, really just a great drive. Hope you liked what you saw. It's really fun to be able to test these vehicles, and I appreciate your support. If you did like it, be sure to hit subscribe and ring the bell so you get notifications when we post new videos. Give it a thumbs up and comment down below. If you didn't like it, do all that same stuff and comment down below and let me know what you want to see that's different. So once again, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.